Welcome to the Doo Divas Smells Like Money podcast. I'm your host, Suzan Chin-Taylor, CEO and founder of Creative Raven, the firm that helps wastewater industry contractors and manufacturers unlock the power of digital marketing, AI, and PR to boost sales and opportunities. Whether it's through our online marketing and lead generation programs or providing a fully outsourced marketing department, we are passionate about helping businesses in the wastewater and civil infrastructure sectors not just survive, but thrive in today's digital world. Each episode, I'll be bringing you expert tips and strategies to help you grow and succeed. Let's dive in. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of the Doo Divas Smells Like Money podcast. Today, we are visiting with Candice McField. Now, Candice is a very unusual guest for us to have on this program because she really isn't from our world or our realm. However, she's doing some very important work, and some of it, I believe, really can be applied to our industry. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit about her works, but we met basically through my virtual assistant who said, she's my client, you're my client. I think you two should meet because I think you'll really enjoy each other. And sure enough, he read it right. And so I wanted to bring her on the show. She has 3 different divisions. Her executive C-suite fit. Did I get that right?
That is correct.
All right. As for me and my body, and I will let her explain that because that's just kind of an interesting thing. And she is also on a mission with her 3rd division, which is globesity. Did I get that right?
So fight globesity. Yep.
Fight globesity, which
Yeah.
is on a mission to fight childhood obesity, which is so important worldwide. It is becoming an epidemic, and children going into very challenging lifestyles as they age. But for today's episode, we're really going to focus on fitness and fitness on not just a physical level, but how fitness on the physical level can really impact fitness on a mental level,
Yeah.
an emotional level, and even so much to say a spiritual level. And for those of you who are listening that are in high pressure jobs or are entrepreneurs, we know the stress that these types of jobs and this work, even though it may be our passion and we love it, but what it does to us. And it does things to us, to our bodies, that we may not be even aware of until often that it's too late. Or as we get older, Candice and I were talking about, because she's many decades younger than I am, the snow on the roof, is that for me mentally, my mind is 30, but my body is saying, hey, yeah, right. And so there's an old country song, my mind is writing checks that my body can't cash. And I'm finding this more and more, but yet I need to take those checks to the bank and get them cashed. And so what we're going to talk about today, that there are some things that we can do as executives, as bosses that are in these high pressure jobs, that will allow us, maybe we can't cash all those checks, but we can cash a good number of them. And at the same time, take care of ourselves so that when we get to that age of retirement, hopefully, or slowing down a bit, that we're going to actually have the physical wherewithal to enjoy that relaxation that we work so hard to earn. And so with that, Candice, the floor is yours. And Candice has a white paper. We're going to share it in the show notes for those who want to download it, called Success is a Double-Edged Sword. And so I will let you explain what it means by that, and maybe give our audience a little background about how you got to where you are in this path.
Sure. Yeah. So let me start with, well, first, hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you. And Suzanne, thanks for having me on. What a pleasure to be here. But I wanted to start with success as a double-edged sword, and then I'll just kind of talk about how I got here in my journey. Success is a double-edged sword. It starts with a story because, as we were speaking offline, I used to work in finance. And so one of the financial advisors I worked for, he was super successful, but at some point in his life, he was unhealthy, and all his success didn't matter if his health was going to be a hindrance or cause him to perhaps even die early. So that's how it's a double-edged sword. We spend so much time working, trying to be successful. We build like financial wealth and accumulate so much, but yet it's at the expense of what? Sometimes it's at the expense of our family, our friends, and even our health. And so I think that we have to be mindful in the wellness journey or in this, entrepreneurship journey or business journey, executive journey that you're in, to not forget about your health because it's your temple. It's like you have to like if you don't take care of yourself, like you're not going to be able to take care of others, meaning your family, your friends, etc. So that's where success is a double-edged sword comes from. But, just like how did I get here in my journey? As I mentioned, I worked in finance for a number of years. I have an economics degree, went to school in Los Angeles, moved back to Kansas City, which is my hometown. And that's where I'm at now. But I realized when I worked in finance, like it wasn't my true passion. I had always been an athlete. And so that's when I started like doing bodybuilding. And so I did bodybuilding from 2005 to 2018, won my professional card. I was able to do shows across our country and I did a few international shows as well. And that's when like people started asking me, "Hey Candice, what should I do for eating and working out?" And that's when I, started my own company back in 2009. I had a company with a business partner. I did that for 5 years, but I realized it wasn't like scalable. So that's when I went to 2014. I went to the online coaching model and just kind of built my niche of working with executives. And so a lot of my focus has been working with type A personalities, very much go-getters, right? But they also, they have demanding schedules. They travel quite a bit. They have zero work-life balance. And so their health is on the back burner. I've been fortunate and it's a blessing just to being able to help people, stay on track with their career, but also enhance their wellness as well. So that's just a little bit of how I got here.
Well, sitting in that seat of being, outside, looking at the entrepreneur. And I
Hmm.
love how you mentioned that A-type personality because
Sure.
I'm definitely one of those serial entrepreneur here that, what are
Yeah.
some of the things that you have found that have been, I guess you would call them easy hacks. Maybe there isn't such a thing as an easy hack, but maybe there is. Easy
Yeah.
hacks, because a lot of times when we're facing a health challenge, we're thinking, oh, I really need to take better care of myself. But to start on a wellness program, sometimes that it feels so overwhelming. It's like
Yeah.
I've got enough on my plate. I don't have time for a big change. I don't have time to work out an hour every
Right.
day. So
Right.
I would like you to share with us some things that maybe you find have helped your customers, your clients, I should say,
Sure.
on their journey that are small, little incremental changes that can
Hmm.
really help that busy executive that really can impact the bottom line of their
The
own,
bottom line,
the bottom
speak
line
their
of
language.
health, the bottom line of
Yeah.
their health and wellness.
Yeah. Absolutely. So number one, I think you have to jump in. Like you said, you mentioned some people, it just seems so overwhelming, but you have to just get started. You have to jump in that pool and start swimming, and you'll figure it out, right? Like even if it's just 20 minutes a day, like do something, whether it's, strength training, walking, yoga, Pilates, I don't care. Like just start somewhere. I think that's the most important thing is just to start. But then too, like you can incorporate accountability. Like that's why, even I have that of saying like even Michael Jordan had a coach, right? So like having that coach hold you accountable is a good way because you don't have to think about the game plan that you need to create for your workout. You could just like take that plan and run with it, right? Like, hopefully they're a good coach where they can like they understand your lifestyle, so you can't have like hour workouts, but you have like 30 minutes or whatever it is. So I think jump in the pool, have some accountability, but like nutrition wise, there's certain hacks. Like if you're traveling a lot, like you can make a rule with yourself, like, okay, while I'm on travel, I'm going to eat clean. Like, when I'm dining out, like I'm going to stick to uh, salads or meats with vegetables and things like that. So that way, when you're at home with your family, you have a little bit more leeway. So that's just like kind of a one nutrition hack, like is to implement that rule of, when on travel. I don't know. So there's a number
Um,
of different
and
small things.
as someone who travels,
Yeah.
that can be incredibly difficult because sometimes,
Yes.
especially when you're in airports a lot, there aren't
Yes.
a lot of healthy choices. And
Hmm.
so I guess a lot of it can come down to what can I do where I know I don't have those choices, but try to do it as much as possible. And I'm even
Yeah.
thinking, if you can't, you can't do your workout routine. For me, sometimes, when you're
Yeah.
busy and you have these long, long work days, especially when you go to a trade show and you're on your feet all day long, that
Hmm.
I find sometimes taking those 20 to 30 minutes, if they don't have a gym, believe it or not, you may think this is odd, um, but sometimes a deep meditation.
Yeah.
I'm talking about really zoning out, deep, deep breathing and meditation
Hmm.
can actually give you back hours of energy.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
amazing. Like a lot of people, oh, meditation is like, no, I'll fall asleep. No, you won't. Not if you learn how to do it the right way. And
Yes.
I've actually done it on airplanes because we all know you're thinking, oh, you're just sitting there. I don't know what it is about airplane travel, but I find it very fatiguing. But sometimes when you do that quick meditation, before you know you're going to be landing, when you get on the ground, it gives you that little
That
extra
jolt.
pump of
Yes.
energy to do what you have
Sure.
to do once your boots on the ground.
Right.
So, I mean, it is, it's finding, you're right. It's finding those little things that work for you that give you what you need.
That's what I was going to say is that, it's about listening to your body and understanding yourself. That's another thing I preach all the time to clients is like you at the end of the day, you know what works best for you. So for you it may be meditation, for somebody else it maybe they just need to like stretch. I don't know. But understand and find out like what works for you, and how you do that is you're just going to have to simply try, a lot of different things. But those it is about those small things that just whatever it is that gives you energy, like make sure you're working that into your lifestyle daily, right? Whether that's like the prayer, the stretching, maybe it's walking. I don't know. There's a lot of different things, but I say this too is like at least 20 minutes a day. People should be doing something that's solely for themselves, like not for their boss or not for their spouse or best friend or for their kids, but solely for themselves. So like that's that self-care component that I think
Mhm.
is really, really important for wellness that people just blow by because, we don't have time, we make excuses, but that self-care is what's gonna keep us going, right? You talked about that jolt of energy, that self-care is gonna be crucial for that. And it can look in different ways, right? It's maybe some people just that 20 minutes is reading or gardening, roller skating, something, but just do something that gives you happiness that's only for you and no one else.
I like that. Something that gives you joy that's only for you. I think that's
Yeah.
that's key. So when
Hmm.
when you've worked with clients that get on a routine,
Hmm.
what have you seen happen transformatively for some of these executives and business
Yeah.
owners? What's the end result?
Yeah. So honestly, yes, physically, perhaps, right, if they're working towards weight loss, but that's not the number one thing, right? I think, a lot of people that come to me at this stage, like they're probably active in some regard, right? So it's about like tightening up, it's about maintaining. But I was going to say is for me, like, it's not, I love seeing the physical transformation, but when I see the mental, emotional, that transformation, because like their confidence goes up, they have more energy, right? Like, it's all these things that play together. I think that just makes them a better person, a better leader, a better executive. But all that goes hand in hand because how you feel about yourself, like inside, their self esteem goes up. It translates into how you show up in business as well. So that's the part I love. I mean, the physical that I mean, that's just one aspect of the will, but like seeing them just have so much more confidence when they're in that meeting room or giving presentations or uh it just work is easier because they have the stamina, things like that. I don't know. That's what I absolutely love to see.
And you've seen that a lot. That's interesting that
Mhm.
you bring that up about presentations, is
Yeah,
that there are a lot of people that are, excellent business folks,
sure.
great entrepreneurs, great leaders. Oh, but to get up in front of a crowd and present, oh,
Yeah,
you might as well, they'd probably say, okay, rip out all my fingernails and toenails. I'd rather do that than get up on the stage and present. And so that's interesting
right.
to point out that, going through a transformation like this of wellness to give you the confidence to step out of your shell
Yes.
to do something that
Yes.
normally would have made you feel very self-conscious.
Right. But think about it, like how we feel internally about ourselves, it radiates to the outside. So like if you're overall feeling better about how your physique is, like you're gonna feel better in that suit, whatever clothes you're wearing. So like you're making that presentation and you have that extra confidence, which is just gonna kind of raise your shoulders, lift your chest, and hold your head a little bit higher. Like it just that audience when you're giving that presentation is they're gonna that radiant. There's gonna be like a radiance coming off of you. They're gonna feel that. So I don't know. I think wellness it goes a long ways that people really don't realize how much it does for you on the back end, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not just that outward show. There's so much that goes on internally that then works to the outside.
Tell us a little bit more about that white paper report and what you meant by the double-edged sword for executives.
Yeah. So like as mentioned, we work so hard and we accumulate so much like maybe perhaps monetary wise, but our health suffers. But the thing is like we work so much and it's at the expense of we have executives that work more hours than the average person. It's about if you look at that white paper, it's about almost 12 hours a day or something like that. You sleep less, you travel more, your work-life balance is insane. And so all this leads to, medical issues, whether it's like being overweight or obese or like heart disease, things that you just perhaps for your health you take for granted, that some executives may struggle with. So I think that success is a double-edged sword is just a great phrase to be like, you know what? I want to be successful, but at the expense of what? You have to make sure what you don't sacrifice what your family, your friends, your health. And so it's a quick reminder just to make sure in this equation as you're moving towards success to keep more things in balance, including your health.
And I'm also seeing that, if you're an owner of a company or leader or executive, if you
Mhm.
just take that time to self-care and,
Sure.
be good to yourself, imagine how that's going to trickle down to the people who report to you, the other people that are working with you,
Right.
who may be
Right.
neglecting themselves for
Yeah.
one reason or another, or maybe they're pushing themselves to get ahead, or they're struggling to make ends meet, or they're not eating as healthy as they could.
Sure.
And it's that, again, as a leader, imagine leading by example.
By example. And that's a great point you bring up because number one, like when we're doing corporate wellness, right? Like the number one thing you want to do is capture senior level support. So because it's gonna start like how that organization, like culture and dynamics are, as far as like wellness and self-care, is gonna flow from the top down to the bottom. So if you have a leader that emphasizes wellness, that emphasizes self-care, then others will be more apt to start, to at least, like, oh, my company recognizes when we I don't know, they give us gym time or they pay for our gym membership. They incorporate a healthy lifestyle into their company culture, right? So you're right. You have, for executives and these business leaders, leading by example is very, very important because it'll give other employees the okay to like make wellness a lifestyle as well. Like they won't feel as guilty for, you know what, I really need to do my gym time or work out. Yeah.
I really need to eat healthy. And
I
and
need to eat
think
healthy.
about it,
Yeah.
a lot of the people in this industry are in very physical jobs.
Sure.
They're on their feet, they're doing hard, a lot of them are doing hard labor. They're out there in all kinds of climate conditions, and they really physically, it's going to be hard for them, especially as they age, if they're not taking
Yeah.
care of themselves. So being a
Yeah.
leader that takes care of themselves, it will, I see that as it will incentivize those
Yeah.
young folks, or other people that are your top level supervisors. You know what, Jim is doing it. Yeah, I need to get off my duff and I need to do this too. Because
Sure.
think about how much more productive, if you are a field person
Yeah.
and you're overweight, or maybe you have high blood pressure, or whatever that situation is, because
Yep.
stress kills, but that you're not at your best. You're physically not
Yes.
going to be able to perform at your best. And
Right.
in a demanding job that requires that you're be at that top level, imagine when you can't, how that's going to work on you mentally.
Yeah.
So
That's
if
the
you
key
don't think
there.
about that, is that when I can't perform physically, okay, great, I'm sore, I can't do it. But unbeknownst, it does work on our psyche, because it's like, I
Yes.
wish I could do what I once did. And it begins
Yep.
to make you feel like you're less than. I'm not as good as I used to be. I want to be like I was. And that creates frustration. And then
Hmm.
become less productive. I think we would become less productive, not just physically, but emotionally. And we're feeling frustrated. What's going to happen? We might start to take that out on people that have nothing to do with the issue, because we're self frustrated.
Yeah. Right.
Which
No,
leads,
it's
which
that
leads
domino
so
effect.
it became, yeah, that domino, and it becomes cyclical. Like, I don't feel
Yeah.
good about me, so the only way I can feel good about me is to maybe give somebody else a heart. And it does, it becomes an environment of unhealthiness, not just on a physical level, but on a emotional and work culture level.
Yeah. Right.
Well, it's
Right. That's
hidden things that we don't think about as
right. No, we really don't, and that's why it's so crucial to have like leadership implementing wellness and making it a part of the company culture, because otherwise it is that domino effect, which some of the things you just went through. But at the end of the day, like when people are not as well as they should be, like productivity goes down,
Mhm.
right? And so, like you said, that person could be mentally battling, like, my gosh, like you said, I'm not as fit as I used to be, and so that you just start to spiral. So I don't know. I wish more people or more companies involved like wellness into their company culture. Because it studies and research shows the benefits of it is remarkable. So,
Well, Candice, this is a great place for us to stop. And so, for those of you who might be interested in what Candice does for executives and coaching and
mhm.
wellness on a corporate level, how can they learn more?
Yeah, you can go to CandiceMcField.com. You can learn a lot more about myself and those three passions I have. And then if you click on that icon, C-Suite Fit, it'll take you right to like our health coaching and that we do for executives.
All right. And now I just have to throw in this plug because I think it's very important. The As for Me, My Body is going in a direction. So for those of you who are very tied to your faith or very involved in your spiritual community, if you have one, Candice has launched a program to help those who serve the community from faith-based organizations. So
Yes.
wellness and fitness are not just for entrepreneurs and executives, but if we think about it, churches are in a way, I
Mhm.
don't, yeah, it's kind of uncomfortable to say, but they are a business. They are a business,
Yeah, they are.
in a sort, in that they're serving the community. They're nonprofit organizations, but their leadership needs to stay fit as well, so they can
Yeah.
continue to serve those in the
Yep.
community that they have felt a calling to serve. So she's launching a new product for that group of, I was just this faith-based entrepreneurs, which I think is really, really amazing. And so, Candice, I want to thank you for
Thank
coming on
you.
the show and just having
Yeah.
this very important discussion about wellness. And it's not, it goes beyond that I'm fit and trim. Wellness,
So much more.
wellness is so, so much more than just the body.
Hmm.
So, with that, thank you again. For those of you tuning in, thank you. Hope you got something out of this today. I know that I did. And until next time, keep it flowing. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you're ready to take your marketing to the next level and start increasing sales and opportunities for your business, reach out to us at Creative Raven. We're here to help you thrive in the digital landscape. Visit creativeraven.com or click the link in the show notes below to schedule a call and learn how we can support your growth. If you enjoyed the insights on today's episode, be sure to hit subscribe so you'll never miss an update. Until next time, keep growing and keep it flowing.